a TIF district. And that is a good example of our tax money not going to places where it may need it most. That's designated for redevelopment, and yet what we'll have there in Dominic's is an empty storefront and an empty lot with lost jobs and lost opportunity. What I know is that the TIF budget often is already set forth and set in place by the city's planning department. They've already made a plan for 23 years. Well, as alderman, what I want to make sure that I do is bring that plan, bring that budget to our TIF oversight board, and let's take a look at it. Let's push back and let's redefine what that budget is so that we can have the planned vision that the community planning board sets forth in terms of the basic principles, and really designate our TIF money and our tax money to where we need it most. And that's the key issue. I remember on Toohey Avenue, riding my bike in that area and going to the local shops.
Thank you.
It's time for bold vision on Toohey Avenue with the TIF.
There are many questions from the voters in the audience about a range of economic development issues, including citywide ones beyond the 50th Ward, but we've run out of time. I'm going to ask one more question from the audience. I'm going to ask the candidates to give a 1-minute response so we can go to our yes and no questions. And it is, with the report that came out this week about global warming, with the city of Chicago become known as a green city, what would you do about pollution? 1 minute, beginning with Mr. Brewer.
First, Chicago actually is in the lead in many programs, and if you know public building programs today, from the prototype police stations, new schools, community centers, the city is really pushing very hard for energy efficiency, for LEED certification of those buildings to save energy and of course with that, be more carbon neutral or reduce pollution. We've also recently, of course, made the decision that as many people knew a long time, the blue bag program doesn't work and we need a serious, effective recycling program. And I only have 15 seconds. And we need to encourage and find ways to get private industry and businesses on board with that as well. But the city is leading the way, and I'll certainly continue to support those efforts.
Thank you. Ms. Stoller.
Our neighborhood has to be known for something more than just garbage on Devon Avenue. Everyone talks about that. The key thing is we need to ensure that we have a strong recycling program, particularly on Toohey and on Devon Avenue. One that really promotes the various religions that we have and the values of regeneration, particularly in the Muslim community and the Jewish community. So what I'd like to see happen is to have these recycling bins, particularly on Devon Avenue, to set a model in our neighborhood as a place that really promotes recycling in public spaces and public places.
Thank you very much, Mr. Apted.
First and foremost, get rid of Bernie Stone. Number two, my solution is the green roofs. I will give those homeowners tax incentives or other kind of incentives who will have a green roof. Number three, alternative fueling. That's one of my suggestions at the Chicago Tribune endorsement session. Number four, recycling program. That includes the pre and post Passover and Christmas and other holidays, garbage pickup and all those kind of things. So these are my few suggestions. And finally, I want to tell you that Al Gore is my hero.
Thank you. We now go to, before the candidates make final comments, I have a series of questions here which, as explained at the beginning, they are to simply answer yes, no, or I can't answer. And I'm just going to ask that you have approximately 2.5 seconds for each of these 8 or so questions that I'm going to ask. And I'm just going to ask that we start on the far left here and just, move along. I think you can just yell out yes, no, or. First question. Do you support an ordinance requiring developers to set aside 15% of the units they build for affordable housing?
Yes.
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 In November 2006, as we know, the Alderman nominated 19 people to serve on a TIF advisory board for the Toohey Western TIF. This board would advise the Alderman on the expenditure of tax money, potentially millions of dollars as we've been discussing, reserved for the development of the Toohey Western corridor. If elected, would you bring all measures and requests involving the expenditure of TIF funds before this board, and would you support its decisions?
Yes.
Yes.
I've seen no public information on that board to be able to answer that question.
Very good. Number 3, do you support the construction of a new public elementary school in the ward at North Shore and Whipple?
Yes.
Yes, most definitely.
Again, that's at least 2 questions, and I do support construction of a new public school.
Yes or no,
Would
please?
I put it on an inaccessible industrial site? No.
If elected, would you support the big box living wage ordinance requiring major retailers to pay employees a living wage?
Yes.
Yes, Joe Moore is my hero.
Please, yes or no?
Al Gore just went down. Yes.
Do you support the mayor's efforts to bring the Summer Olympics to Chicago in 2016?
Yes.
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 Do you support the creation of a civilian-led police review board to investigate and review allegations of police misconduct?
Yes.
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 Years ago, the city council was wired for cablecast. Would you actually begin cablecast of city council meetings?
Yes, most definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
If you're elected alderman, would you consider this a full-time position?
Yes.
That's my issue. I want to make it full-time, yes. With the reduction in salary.
Yes or no, please?
And then yes.
Mr. Brewer?
Yes, full and a half time.
Very good. We are now going to closing remarks. Each candidate will have 1 minute to make a closing remark, and we are going to start with Mr. Brewer and go to the left.
Well, thank you again for coming this evening. I haven't lived here my entire life. I don't pretend to. My family moved a number of times when I was young, and I've lived in even more places as an adult. I've lived in Europe in 7 states. I've lived in 7 wards in the city of Chicago. I don't think you get extra points for being born somewhere and never leaving. And that's not what this election is about. This election is about character and integrity and commitment. It's about having the skills and experience to get the job done. I have that experience, and I'm already working to make a positive difference in our community. I chose to live here. I chose to get involved. I've committed myself to being a part of this community and working to make it a better place for everyone in every neighborhood. That's my commitment to this community. That's my commitment to you as your alderman. Join me in making that commitment. Vote for me, Greg Brewer, February 27th. Thank you.
Here we have an alderman who refused to come here tonight because he said he doesn't want to be a punching bag, quote unquote. I have news for Alderman Stone. The people of the 50th Ward are sick and tired of being his punching bag. When he wants a job for his daughter, he puts her on the city payroll, and once again the taxpayers of the 50th Ward have to open their wallets. When he says he cannot live on $98,000 a year, he wants a $20,000 pay increase. Open up your wallets, folks, because Bernie Stone wants some money from your wallets. It's time for the residents of the 50th Ward to stop being Bernie's punching bag. On February 27, you have the opportunity to punch back Bernie Stone. I'm the only reform candidate in this race, and here is my reform agenda. Number 1, reduce and cap the property taxes. Number 2, restore accountability and integrity to the city council. Number 3, empowering people, not the developers. Number 4, back to basics in education and ward services. And number 5, zero tolerance on crime. Punch 54. Thank you.
Thank you.
We heard a lot tonight, and in many ways, the other challenges and I have similar visions. We often do. So what's the difference? Well, the difference is in the quality and commitment of the people on my campaign to true participatory democracy that puts the people of the city and this neighborhood first and doesn't get begged to participate in a community forum. I have been endorsed by many groups who believe I can be the independent voice Chicago City Council and our ward needs. I've been endorsed by IBI-IPO, the Fraternal Order of Police, DL21C, Tammy Duckworth, Abner Mikva, Congressman Hanna, and over 150 residents in the ward. You see, we're in it for the long haul, and we're in it for the right reasons. I'm not inspired by special interest groups or inspired by ego or inspired to maintain the status quo. I'm in it with you, and I'm in it for all of us. Vote for me, Nacy Dolar. Thank you.
Thank you all three candidates, and you, the audience, for showing up tonight. You had wonderful questions. We could have gone on for at least another hour, but I'm not sure we want to stay away from the nightly news, because maybe there'll be some that are on it tonight. But I want to especially thank the three of you. You kept to the agenda and the schedule and gave thoughtful answers, and we really appreciate your coming out. And now you may applaud them all.
I too would like to thank the candidates for their very thoughtful answers to our questions and concerns. I'd also like to thank Tom Clark for his very creative job at moderating. He squeezed in many a question. I would also like to thank Dixie Rouleau and the staff and administration at Boone School who have made the auditorium available to us for the good of the community. And now, I'd like you to know that some of us are going to adjourn to the candlelight, where this forum will be continued by other means. Thank you, and good night.